What's up, YouTube? This is Delto, and today we're going to be talking about Enokian, or the Enokian language, invented by John Dee and Edward Kelly, and I say invented for reasons that you are about to find out. So basically, they claimed that it was the language of the angels, and actually in Liber Legoeth, which was John Kelly's book, which is the more accepted version of Enochian. It's not actually called Enochian in the first place. It's just that they believed that Enoch was the last person to speak Enochian. Basically, in Liber Legoeth, it translates to Book of Angelic Speech, or Book of God Speech, Book of the Lord Speech, something along those lines. Basically, John Dee's and Edward Kelly's versions of the language aren't really totally the same. Also, they claimed that languages like Syrian, Arabic, Aramaic, Hebrew were debased versions of the original angelic language, which was Enochian, right? But all of those languages are very dissimilar to English in grammar, in pronunciation, in phonetics. Now, phonetics means the letters in their alphabets, okay? Phonetics. Now, but Enochian was like the same with phonetics. Their alphabet's the same. There is an equivalent to, like, we have a 26-letter alphabet. They have a 21-letter alphabet, so that's 4 letters less. Combine C and K, they're already basically the same letter. Combine, let's see, V and W, they're already basically the same letter, and that already removes 2 letters. I think VW and another letter. Anyway, they combined a lot of letters. But they're still the same exact pronunciation as in English. Now, there is some aspects of Enochian language that kind of simulate to speaking in tongues, or a concept known as glossolalia. So that's where, now, speaking in tongues, here's the thing about speaking in tongues. So this is going to be kind of a double-edged video. We're going to talk about speaking in tongues as well. Speaking in tongues is pretty much a concept that's done in churches. It's done in Christian churches. And on studies that there was this Harvard study that they did on glossolalia in churches. And in most of those cases, okay, one of a couple of things was happening. Either the people were being socially pressured into speaking in tongues, or they were literally behind the scenes being taught how to speak in tongues, which is not speaking in tongues. Like, you can't call it an angelic language if you have to learn it. That's not, like, the whole idea of speaking in tongues is that you're being shined through like a window for God, and God speaking through you. That's not going to happen if you're learning it, and that's not going to happen if you're being socially pressured into it. And the other thing that was happening, which was much more rare, is that people actually were speaking in tongues. But they don't know if that was a response to strong emotions. For example, when I felt like I was being watched outside, I've started speaking gibberish before, and that's the same thing as speaking tongues. When you start speaking gibberish, that's the same thing. Because they videotape people speaking in tongues, and none of it adds up. It's not some angelic language. It's literally gibberish. Okay? So with that out of the way, even if they are sacred vibrations, and even if you have some divine experience from speaking in tongues, it's not a language. Okay? Speaking in tongues is not a language. It's an experience, maybe. Maybe you're having a divine experience, and that's wonderful. But it is not a language. Okay? It cannot ever be translated into any other language. And for God speaking through you, he's not really saying anything if no one can understand it. Okay? Now, back to Enochian. There are some similarities between glossolalia and Enochian, but they're pretty not there. They're pretty kind of there, but they're pretty not there. And the phonetics are the same. Also, I'm having a brain fart. Give me a sec. Anyway, they claimed that Enochian was the original language and that Syrian and Hebrew and Aramaic and Arabic all came from Enochian, but they were just debased versions of Enochian. Now, all of those languages are very dissimilar to English in their pronunciation and in their alphabet and in their syntax and in their everything, and Enochian is like the same as English in every way except a couple. And that makes it seem very strange because they made a huge claim about being the original language when it's a historical fact that Sanskrit is the original language. That doesn't add up, especially when they're so similar to English, English being their native language. It's pretty strange. So I'm going to go ahead and say Enochian is fake. It's a fake language. There is no angelic meaning behind Enochian, and it's pretty much a scam. Whether or not John Dee and Edward Kelly thought that it was real, or, had a divine experience, it was created by the subconscious, whatever. It's still, like, the similarities, it doesn't mesh, okay? But people are stupid, okay? And that means that magicians, ever since it's been invented. It was invented in the 16th century. People have been using this thing since the 16th century as a magic language, okay? And that means that it holds a lot of energy. It holds energy as being a magic language. So, powerful magicians, like people that have been practicing magic and just maybe aren't good at research, have been using this language, learning this language, to make sigils, to make incantations, to make spells, to make chants, all sorts of stuff like that. That means that Enochian does hold power. It holds power in the collective mind. So there's power because people put focus into it. That's basically the same concept as using a fictional character from a TV show as an archetype to invoke in the LBRP. The same concept, basically. So, yeah, you can use Enochian to make sigils, and it's going to work well. It's going to have power, it's going to have energy, not because it's sacred, but because people believe in it, because people put their energy and focus into learning it because they believe that it's sacred. Okay? So yeah, that was Enochian. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like, subscribe, comment, and share if you did, and make sure you hit the bell notification icon so you can tell when I upload videos. Goodbye. I didn't burp. I thought I was going to burp. It didn't happen. Yeah. Well, bye.